it's Matthias now, and I'd like to show you real quick how to configure an RTD CHARM. So RTD means resistance temperature detection, and means we're able to have a resistor sensor connected to our AMS Asset Monitor for driving temperature information into the measurement purposes as well. So for doing so, we're just pressing onto the RTD CHARM, which is completely unconfigured as it comes from delivery. So I'm pressing onto the CHARM, and you see that we have no values shown as it is not configured, and we're having an opportunity to press a configuration button from the lower part, but also from the general configuration button over here. That is available also if the CHARM is configured already and needs to be reconfigured or adjusted anyhow. So I'm pressing onto configuration here, and we see that we have a basic section over here that allows us to enable or disable the channel generally in case that, for example, a sensor is not available or not connected or defective anyhow. So we can give it a sensor name, and with entering a name over here it would be shown in the display as well, but I'm leaving that with the default value, which means it's a CHARM at monitor number 1 at slot number 3. So optional description, that's optional parameters, as cabling ID is also optional, so I'm just entering RTD over here and a cable number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So at the detail section, we're specifying what type of sensor we have. So it could be an RTD sensor, as said earlier, and per default it just comes with RTD input, but with pressing on here we're having a list of the most common RTD types that are used in industrial applications. So I'm going with the PT100 just for example over here, and the number of wires means there are different types of sensors available on the market that may come with 2-wire, 3-wire or 4-wire, and we can choose what type of sensor we have. So if going with a 4-wire or 3-wire, you see that this does not change too much. But for the 2-wire types, it may be required to do some compensation. That means compensation of the cable length or the cable type that is used in resistance. So we're able to have 1, 2, 3, a few options over here in ohms that can be used for compensation to adjust the measurement value and recompensate the cable resistance of the sensor itself. But this is typically only required for the 2-wire type, so it does not appear if we're having, for example, a 4-wire sensor. So we're able to use a compensation of the connection cable finally if required. So on the lower part we have an AntiLysing filter, and I'm typically leaving that just disabled for the temperature measurements. But if clicking onto that, you see that there is a period time that can be specified how often the measurement value will be refreshed, and with with having this disabled, it does not need to be influenced, especially for the temperature measurement where we are talking about a slow changing measurement. That means disablement doesn't count on anything, so it does not affect anything. So for the display range over here, you see that we're having an opportunity to show up the scaling of the display inside of the asset monitor. So typically those RTD sensor types have a very large measurement range. But we're not interested in seeing everything from the scaling, as our expectation of the environment might be much lower. So with having it entered 50 degrees Celsius at the lower side and up to 300 degrees Celsius, or I'm changing that just to 100 degrees Celsius here, will allow us to have a good resolution in display, and finally not limiting the measurement for sure, but we're having a good resolution in display with that. So last but not least, I'm just pressing the Save button over here for leaving the configuration interface, and after that we're seeing that we're automatically moving into the display measurement value, and the CHARM status has been changed from purple into green now, as now it is configured, and with having a valid configuration and the sensor properly connected, we're seeing a measurement value shown from the bar graph display at the lower part. And that's quite everything you need to deal with having an RTD CHARM configured.